So,
I will greet this day with love in my heart. Right?
well, this one is today I begin a new life.
Yes, the new life.
Yes. So,
Absolutely. Before we do that. So fantastic. Well, take it away. It's fun, guys, because I'll show you in my iPhone, in my clock, my wake up 6:15 every morning are the scrolls. So
oh
every
wow.
day I'm in the series, every morning I get a chance to review these scrolls first thing when my alarm goes off. Ever since I read this last year, and to let you guys know why this is on the yearly, it's Brent Gove's yearly. We are following the model. I'm going to be really big on models, systems, checklists this year, get you guys to implement. And since I'm just catching up today, Doug, the floor is yours. I'll kind of help facilitate. And yet, where do you want to go with this, Doug, since you've been leaving?
What
Well,
book?
we're still in The Greatest Salesman in the World, and we're on scroll 1. So, today I begin a new life is how it starts. So, it's just well worth reading the first 3 paragraphs of this. So today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which has too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. What a mindset shift. Today I will pluck the grapes of wisdom from the tallest and fullest vines in the vineyard, for these were planted by the wisest of my profession who have come before me generation upon generation. So, is anybody excited about that? I mean, what a way to start a day. Today I begin a new life. Now, you're supposed to say this every day, 3 times a day for 30 days, right?
Is it
That
3
was
or
the
4?
3 times a day, at morning when you rise, at the midday meal, and then the last time you read it, you're supposed to read it out loud. So the first time, 2 times in silence, and the last time you read it out loud. So this is supposed to become a reflex, right? So what do you think of those first little things in there? Anybody?
So can you just talk about what that thing is? I didn't get up to this particular chapter. I kind of went back and listened to the audiobook because I wanted it to flow differently. So what are those things that you are referring to exactly? And my pen is ready. I'm ready to write.
Well, just the things that I just read about. Today I will begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin. Too long I've suffered the bruises and wounds. Today I am born, and my new birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. Today I will pluck the grapes of wisdom from the tallest and fullest of vines in the vineyards, for these were planted by the wisest of my profession who have come before me generation upon generation.
Yeah. So the thing about that really encourages me is, one, we're at the beginning of a new year. So we have that ability to do that. But the thing that's powerful to me is how, like, the sun comes up every single day. We have an opportunity to do that again and again and again. And earlier in the book, I think the old guy was saying to the, I forgot his name, hey, what, these things are the same thing that happens every single time, just like the sun that comes up. And so we have the opportunity to be refreshed. So if we mess up today, guess what? There's always tomorrow to get it right tomorrow.
Well, and I think that's a big part of Og placing this as scroll 1 is every single day that you wake up, today I begin a new life. every day is a restart for you. Every day is a fresh slate to begin again. And again, one of my 2025 themes is time on task over time solves everything. So every single day you get to begin again. And as Doug pointed out in the very first couple of chapters, you can pluck the grapes of wisdom from the tallest and fullest vines because they were planted by the wisest of your profession. I hear time and time again in this industry, I got to figure it out myself. I got to pull myself up by my bootstraps. I'll get this versus I will just go lean into those that have gone before me and succeeded at a high level. That's what this very piece is. And again, guys, I want to hear from you now that I'm back, because in this scroll marked 1, there's so many other places that each day we get to begin again.
That's right. That's right.
Some of the
When he
ones-
was introducing this particular chapter, he said, this is the one that all the rest of them are built on. Anybody want to talk about that?
I saw Jeanette chiming in. What do you got, Jeanette?
Well, taking what Doug said, the foundation of something is that you're, well, on a few paragraphs down. I will not fail as the others, for my hands now hold the charts which will guide me through the perilous waters to shores which only yesterday seemed but a dream. And that's why we're here in this mastermind, that particular thing. And so the next is that failure is no longer my payment for struggle. That's not my payment anymore. I'm getting wisdom from it. We're getting data points. We're getting hope. And we have, just as we see in so many of these books, it's a mastermind that's taking place in here. So failure, like pain, is alien to my life. In the past, I accepted it as I accepted pain. Now I reject it, and I'm prepared for the wisdom. I am prepared for the wisdom and principles which will guide me out of the shadows into the sunlight of wealth, position, and happiness, far beyond my most extravagant dreams, until even the golden apples in the garden of Hesperides will seem no more than my just reward. So this is a mindset change for pretty much all of us, even though, I mean, we're here today because we're not thinking this way, right?
Yeah, we're starting our year off right here.
So
Thinking differently.
thinking
I
differently.
want to jump in though with this, the paragraph right before. Since almost every one of you are in real estate or lending, the career I have chosen is laden with opportunity.
Yes.
Yet it is fraught with heartbreak and despair and the bodies of those who have failed, where they piled one atop another, would cast a shadow down upon the pyramids of the earth. Then he goes into I will not fail. Again, this failure piece, and I just watching it here in December as people cast aside their business to do something different. Seeing agents leave. And here's the fun part this month. Every single agent that has left the Renegade group is somebody who doesn't plug in. I've never met them. They've never responded to text. They've never responded to email. And so for you guys, by the way, they're subordinate in our organization to you. And I know everybody has folks that are. I want you reaching out and having more conversations this year. Part of this, I will not fail, I want to add a piece to. I will not let others fail. I will keep working at it, helping them. My success is a direct reflection of their success. That's how I'm looking at it in 2025. Shara, I see your mic is hot, my dear.
Oh, I love what each of you have said. I love this. Today I begin a new life, because it truly is a choice. And so you've each touched on something so profound. We're pulling on successes of other people, and knowledge can go into our head or we can apply it. And I've got lots of head knowledge, but what am I actually applying? And so on 53 of the book that I have, one of the things that really speaks is, I will commence my journey unencumbered with either the weight of unnecessary knowledge or the handicap of meaningless experience. Like I love this. Somebody posted fail forward carry. That's great. I think failure is just like the next level of our foundation, if we truly look at it. And I just feel like, for what I feel led to do and inspired to do for 2025, I spent an inordinate amount of time really assessing my 24. So I felt like I was to close the door on the things that didn't serve me, but I had to take from it the wisdom and the knowledge. So I feel like my ceiling is my floor for 25. And that's where it is. So I'm like, handicap of meaningless experience. Can we learn from people to maybe not have a meaningless experience, or to not have an unnecessary knowledge? Do we have to always learn on our own? Like you said, pull on the greats. This is timeless. It's an annual for Brent Gove. I haven't read this book in 20 something years. I'm sitting here going, why am I not doing this like every year?
Yeah. But and the fun part for me on this meaningless experiences, the first time you have programming, thought, feeling, you take an action, you get a result. That result is the experience, right? The first time you have it, it's never meaningless.
Yeah.
That's why we want you testing, doing new things, figuring stuff out. If you're having the same action and result that's not serving you, that's when we get to talk, as Og does, about it being a meaningless experience, because you still haven't taken the wisdom and the knowledge that that's not the action that gets me the result I truly want. So many of us get stuck in that loop of, I've got to be right, I've got to look good, and both of those aren't goal achieving. They're short run, oh, I feel good about myself. Look, I won that argument. And yet long run, they don't get you to the goal of, let's just say, fulfilling relationships. What else do you guys have from the content? Jeanette, you're back in.
Here's where know exactly what to say can come in. Because first off, to say I'm a failure, it means what does failure mean to you? So you get them thinking about what failure really means. And then they get an opportunity to start questioning about whether that is a failure. You've got them thinking about it. They're now open-minded a little bit more to what those words can be. And just bringing in, well, an opening fact question is like that. What about this is a failure? Why is it a failure? So you end up doing the therapist type of journey. Well, what makes you say that? And then you get to bring it around and bring it to whether you call it a data point with them or not, and say, well, have you learned anything from that? Or are you just condemning yourself and giving yourself no hope? Because that's what the word failure does with people. It's a self-condemnation, meaning there's no hope. So when we get to talk with them and ourselves, start with ourselves, we get to practice this. And that's why we're here, is so that we can practice talking to ourselves identify what that self-condemnation failure really is, so that then we can go, well, it's these things, and you go, okay, well, how much of these can you control? How much of these can you do different? So now it becomes, I mean, Doug and I talk about this lots. So uh, now you can start opening the door to hope. You can bring them a book like the Atomic Habits and just bring them like a section out of that. It's like, hey, well, here's what I learned about this habit to do this here, and how I could build on that to make it better, and not go to a certain point. It's like, what's the next challenge in that habit? Sorry, that's enough with that. Go ahead. There's more people to talk.
Well, there's
Just-
two pieces tonight I want to cover. You cover. Number one is this hope, and you said, how much can we really control? And I would tell you that every single thing that matters, you can control. It's in your purview. It's in your wheelhouse. You've got the ability, as we learned from Man's Search for Meaning, you have the ultimate gift of choice of how you respond to anything. So I want you guys to lean into that ownership this year. There's no more pointing the finger outward. There's no one else that's responsible. There's no other place. Gosh, I didn't have a good 2024 because the market. It's all on your shoulders. It hurts in the moment. And yet the cool part is now you get to change, because it's all your power now. You can make 2025 amazing. That's the goal. Number two, to help you do that and help everybody else around you do that. Today is the 2nd. We will have this content wrapped up by the 13th, because on January 16th, we are starting Ninja Selling, kick off the year, workshop elements added to it, as well as going through the content line by line here. Because one of the things I continue to witness and experience is this is great content and I'm not doing anything with it. So I plan on seeing you guys implement. I plan on us having a lot of people in here starting the 16th and cranking up our real estate business. It's there's a little mindset at the beginning, yet it is a skill set book. It is an activity book that you guys are going to be implementing at a high level. All right. So what else do you guys have from the content that today I begin on a new life?
Just leaning in on top of what you just said on page 48 in my book, it says, in truth, and this is exactly what you're talking about, Russ. In truth, the only difference between those who have failed and those who have succeeded lies in the difference of their habits. Good habits are the key to all success. Bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. Thus, the first law that I will obey that precedes all others is, I will form good habits and become their slaves. Then he repeats that over and over through the rest of this particular scroll. So I will form good habits and become their slaves. So that's exactly what you're talking about, building the skill sets, building the one thing after another that we need to put in place, so that the processes that need to be in place so that our businesses are more and more successful.
And here's the fun thing for me with all of you on this habit piece. What I've experienced in my coaching world is I've got to build that habit is a story in a vacuum. I instead desire for you to build a checklist. Like I have my morning ritual checklist. Got up this morning in it. It's going to become a habit. You keep running it over and over and over. And even though it becomes a habit, you never stop going to the checklist. Here is my other second checklist I want you to have. It's called Google Calendar. That's all it is a checklist. It's a timeline checklist. So daily checklist is on 6:30 every single day where I run the other checklist. Being here with you guys is on every single day, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock Atlantic. And that's my checklist. My calendar is my daily master checklist of subordinate checklists. Do you guys think that when I enter into a conversation, when I'm helping you guys with a third-party validation call or a share the models, that I'm not looking at a checklist? Some people might call it an outline. Some people might call it a script. Yet it is still a formulaic process. I love checklist as the label that gets you from point A to point B. So rather than winging what's the habit you want to build, I'm going to challenge you. What's the written document I'm going to follow to implement that habit? Now, here's the other fun part. If you're following that and you're not getting the output you desire, then you can adjust that. By the way, 9 times out of 10, the building it is the easy part, the following it is the hard part. And that's what we're going to help you guys do with our implementation workshops that we're going to be laying out more of this year for you guys, especially our afternoons 2 to 5. We are going to have some magic happening to get these habits going. Thanks for bringing that in the room, Doug. What else you guys have? Thank you, Sharon.
Only principles will endure. I thought that was very interesting. And these I now possess, for the laws that will lead me to greatness are contained in the words of these scrolls. So as he commits himself, makes a solemn oath to himself to follow what is in the scrolls, his reaction to anything that comes his way will only be as it is defined in these scrolls. So becoming the slave is to the principles, to what wisdom, what the success prior to him has articulated. He's made a choice and created these good habits and a mindset. So every day, truly, I have begun a new life. Today I begin a new life. It is a choice, and it became his choice to follow these. I see that in you from having met you so many years ago. And, I've made a choice to do things in my life as well. So do I want them to continue, or do I want greater success today? Will I hone in and choose to respond rather than react to the things that come my way, or will I continue to use things that maybe have or haven't served me as well when I have a great blueprint here?
Well, this part principles, so much more powerful than activities and actions. Think about this for a moment. Punctuality for me is a principle. Being on time. And again, I give everybody, including myself, the 80-20 Pareto's principle. And would all of you agree with me that 8 times out of 10, maybe even 9 times out of 10, I am here on time with you guys ready to go? Because it's a principle. I'm curious in your life where a principle, and by the way, you can borrow mine of punctuality, where just that one principle could change your world. Part of my listing presentation, because it is the one that I learned and I loved, was knock at the door, they open, half step back. Good morning, Mr. Smith. I'm Russ Collier with eXp Realty. We had an appointment at 9 o'clock, and it's 9 o'clock sharp. May I come in? I got immediate, yes, come in and let's get the paperwork going because you're the first real estate agent who's shown up on time. That one principle got me $20,000+ on a small ranch listing outside of Bastrop. What principles do you guys want to implement this year? What are you going to be writing about today in your journal? By the way, maybe journaling should be on that morning checklist where you ask yourself questions and write yourself answers. I can't wait to see how these things expand. Klein, I'm letting you go with a little road noise. And then Jeanette, I see you in there as well, my dear.
So I know for me, we all kind of know what our issues are. I know that mine is consistency. I clearly understand that. That's what I'm working on this year. And actually, in regards to journaling, hey, I sent you something via email for you to look at. I don't know if you got that. And it was a journaling sheet that I'm developing to give myself the opportunity to do this consistently. But I'm on consistency, man. That is my problem child.
Well, here, I want to share a fun one for you. Consistency is only a virtue if you're not a screw up. Suck that one in. That being said, I want to give you guys then another principle. Asking for help. Setting your ego aside and being willing to reach out to the people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself. I was listening to the Angel of Death yesterday. She was the first female navigator of a C-130 gunship, currently a retired colonel, who was on the first sortie in Afghanistan after 9/11. And she talked about her journey and how many times she stepped into a place where the only thing that got her through was leaning on the other people that believed in her more than she believed in herself. Always asking for help, always leaning into those senior above her. And by the way, side note, the reason she was the Angel of Death, and in the gunship, she knew none of this was going on the ground. Because, on the ground, she was communicating with the general on the ground, who was an Afghani general, who would say, okay, I see a target here. Do we have permission to get it? Yeah, kill it. And they had literally a barracks of like 1,000 Taliban. And the general was he was hotkeying his walkie-talkie to the enemy and putting her on the wire to them and then saying, the Americans are sending their women to kill you. Yeah. Powerful, powerful stuff. Matt, bring us home, brother. And very good to see you today. I'm glad you're doing this. God bless you. God bless New Orleans. Man,
thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I was just going to talk about that C-130 gunship. That's an amazing thing. That thing can do in 1/4 mile circle, can put a 60 caliber bullet into every inch of a football field, every square inch of a football field. So they weren't messing around with that machine. It is an incredible. I've actually ridden on those before, just to have an idea of what they can do. It's amazing. And so I've heard that story before, where they patched in the female pilots to let the Taliban know that that women were going to be killing them. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's kind of what we do over there.
Well, not only were women killing it there, women are going to be killing it here, as are the men I'm looking at in this room here in 2025. So by all means, guys, hey, just 2 principles: asking for help, being punctual, and I'll add a third one: invite, man. Let's invite some other people into this space over the next week and a half to get them started in the habit of showing up, so we can really help them with their real estate business leaning into ninja selling.